Hello there, and welcome to another edition of, what are we calling this thing?
The Bryan Hank Show.
The Bryan Hank Show.
Experience.
Experience.
It's an
whatever.
experience.
I am joined here by three lovely men, and hi, John.
Oh.
And we have quite a show for you. Very honored. Not only do we have us four, but we're going to be joined in a few moments by Richy Huneycutt. Very excited. I know someone that's been very good to you in your life and to me too. Yeah. She's used to be the media director for Lenoir Community College. But she's been retired for a while. She's been spending time with grandbaby, so I can't wait to see what she's been up to. What have you been up to, Jonathan?
Oh, about 6 foot.
How are you doing, Brandon?
Well, I'm sorry I missed the show last week. I had to cut your lawn.
That was who was out there.
It's all falling into place. It was perfect. We got here and the camera didn't work, and the SD card died, and we got that fixed. And then the lithium batteries that I paid $98 for died in the middle of it. And then Carl from Caddyshack got out there and started doing the hedges. So other than that, it was fine.
But it was still a good show, though.
Yeah, it was.
And I won the Masters.
That's what. Oh yeah, it was the
Came from out of nowhere.
Yeah, the Augusta. The guy was out there doing yard work. He was working for Augusta.
It was awesome. That was a fun show. But we've got a great show for you. How have you guys been? I haven't talked to you in a minute, dude. I mean, other than last week.
Other than last week?
Yeah.
I've been fine. I've been, I'm kind of a lapsed Carolina fan, so all the Hubert Davis talk has got, I'm kind of sort of paying attention. And I don't know. I guess I feel sorry for him that I'm assuming he's going to lose his job, but then again, he's going to get a few $1 million to not work. So
I saw the number 5 million. It's the number that I saw.
That ain't bad.
To not work.
To not work.
If anyone would like to fire me, I'll leave for half that.
For a tenth of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But hey, you don't do brackets, do you?
I used to, and I used to do quite well, and I would just go through them willy-nilly and usually end up in the top 3 with having no research and no knowledge.
Yeah. How was yours?
I actually didn't fill one out. I did fill one out for my wife.
Okay.
They're having a little contest at work, so I filled one out for her. Started off really strong, but the second round, that started getting me. Of course, I think Iowa beating Florida kind of threw a monkey wrench into a lot of brackets.
Well,
Not mine.
Guess who my national champion was?
Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
My national championship game is Duke, Arizona.
Okay.
So I think I'm still good in that department. Florida was a Final Four team though, so that smarts a little.
Yeah,
Actually, were they?
Right. How's your bracket?
I was smart enough to take VCU,
Okay.
but I was then dumb enough to take Florida. So right down the tank with that one. But my women's bracket is great.
Well, I wonder if
You ever done one of those?
Yeah, that's the one where you pretend to do it so you can say you care about women's sports and then you throw it in the trash.
Is that a buffalo hat?
Yes.
That's very
Yes,
cool.
yeah.
I thought it was University of Bryan, but then I was like, no.
Who do you have winning the women's?
I couldn't get into that.
That day he does a good question. Ooh.
Who do you have winning the women's?
Connecticut.
Well, I mean, history says
Yeah.
there's at least I don't know what a 1 in 12 chance or an 11 in 12 chance they win. It seems like they win at least.
Well, I just wonder, what's the line in Vegas on if Duke wins and they've stormed the court of Shire where, say, someone beat up one of his staff members?
I'd say it's like a 3-1.
God.
Wow.
I'd take that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Hey, let's turn to a team that's not even in the tournament. Shouldn't even be talking about. But Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
I'm blown away. I mean, and it really looks like, as we're recording this Monday evening,
Yes.
they're going to hire outside the family. That's what I keep seeing, is that they have the indications are, if he does go, and it does look like he's going to go, that they're going to hire outside the family.
Well, at this point, and mentally, I stopped caring after Krzyzewski's last year when Carolina beat them in his last game at home and his last game in the NCAA. I draw a line. That's anything that's happened since then to me doesn't count. But that being said, you got a 19-point lead and it's starting to go away, and you will not pull anyone off the bench. There's something cognitively wrong. And I was an early Hubert. You can go to bucklesbury.com and see for the proof. That wasn't a plug, by the way. I supported Hubert early.
You did.
Because these people that couldn't run from here to the end of the couch act like they're sports experts. But by this point, you got to do something. And I know he had a star player get hurt and all that, but blowing the 19-point lead and just standing there like a mannequin and not doing any, giving the guys, because by the end of the game they were just exhausted because they hadn't had a break.
Yeah.
Is that
No,
right?
no. That's good analysis. That's good analysis.
And when you ask him why, he just looks at you like, "What do you mean?" So it's time for something to happen. If I cared, not that I do.
Well, I mean, there was this big gap between the Dean Smith era, where they were hyper successful,
Yeah.
one of the 3 most successful programs ever,
Mm-hmm.
to get to Roy Williams. There was that
Sacrificial lamb of Matt
The
Doherty.
Matt Doherty era.
There was that period
I like
that was, and those were some dark times
Yes.
for Carolina fans. Not that I cared,
Mhm.
but still, not a great time to be a Carolina fan. So I feel like this is that time where they're just going to have a couple people come in and not be really successful, and they're going to find that guy, that heir apparent that Roy Williams ended up being.
And our fearless leader here before the show was flapping his gums about these Carolina fans. If Duke had had 2 21 seasons, Shire would have been out of there quicker than you could say quick. You know that.
I know. Well, the cool thing about having memory loss is I didn't even really realize until the last little period of time that Tony Bennett was no longer at Virginia.
Look, the guy won a national championship, so it probably bought him a few more years.
Yeah, but
I didn't realize Virginia still had a basketball team.
Anywho, I had a good game last night. It was fun watching them last night. I hate that they lost, but I mean it was fun.
Who'd
Their
you know?
women took Iowa to double overtime today. I don't know if they won yet.
Virginia, yes, they
Yeah.
won.
They did?
Yeah.
All right.
I got the alert on my
I
phone
did
about
not
it.
pick
But
them, so there goes my women's bracket.
Oh, the horror.
the horror indeed.
Sometime when we're not filming, we're going to ask him about the softball game he attended a few months ago.
A college softball game?
It was
Oh,
women's softball.
the University of Buffalo. What are they? The Bison?
Bulls.
The Bulls.
The Bisons are the AAA team.
That's right. That's right. I should have remembered that.
That's what a buffalo says to his kid when he goes off to college.
Bye,
Bye,
son.
Oof.
That was good. That was very good. Okay. Well, I think that's enough mindless banter, don't you?
I think we got a plenty.
There you go. We're bringing Richy in.
And as soon as I snap my fingers, Richie will be sitting right here.
We're back, and look at this this lovely, I combined lovely and young into one word.
And I bless you for that. Thank you so much.
This lovely young lass that is sitting here between Jonathan and I, it is Richy Smith Huneycutt.
That's right.
Ah,
It's nice
how
to
about
be
that?
with you guys today. I mean, it's like old home in the palatial, kind of different recording studio. You know, we had to kind of dress up a little bit today instead of putting our headphones on and be behind the mic.
Well, John has everything it's 2026 in here.
I
okay?
know.
It is
John's
so
the
I
man.
do yearn for the days where we could just do this in our pajamas.
I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for everybody.
Do you remember that time Richie came? She didn't
Yeah,
have anything
remember?
on.
Hey, do you remember that time?
I was getting ready to say,
I thought
the
it was
only
optional.
problem
Yeah.
is Brian's pajamas, he just dressed like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
Just a shirt.
that doesn't surprise me at all. You know, but the one thing I
John's
do like
going,
it's not
"What
5
am I gonna have
a.m.
to cut?"
You know,
Yeah,
down here.
that is nice.
It's nice that you're not here at
Of
7
course, I never
a.m.
had to do the 5 8. Well, I did a couple of times, but most of my stuff was in the evenings.
Oh.
But we are
Yes.
very honored to have my
Thank
dear,
you.
dear friend. And I say that, I mean, sometimes we'll have people on here, like I'll talk about Brandon, I'll say my friend.
Yeah.
I'm joking. This is a true dear friend of mine.
We go way
Richard.
back.
We go, back to probably 02, 03.
Yeah. So when did you come to Kinston with the Free Press?
2002.
Okay. So in my role at the college at the time was to know the media, you know,
Mhm.
because I came from the Free Press as well.
We're going to talk about that.
And again, all I knew is this Bryan Hanks guy, you know, was working at the Free Press.
We
And
still
so-
say that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, this Bryan Hanks.
Hey.
And so we've known each other since then. And I say this honestly, I have a very deep respect for you, mutual love. And you were so good when you were there at the Free Press as media. and in every role you've ever done. Let me just say that.
Well,
So,
thank you. Not worthy of that, but I appreciate it. I just remember you from, you were just our point of contact at Lenoir Community College, and it was a job you could tell. You can tell when someone, anybody in here will tell you this, you can tell when someone likes their job. And you really love being at Lenoir Community College. You love working for Dr. Briley, you love working for Dr. Hunt.
Yeah, I worked with 6 different presidents. And if you count Joyce Cherry, the late Joyce Cherry, who was wonderful, she was interim president twice. So if you count her, I worked for 7. But if you count just once, it was 6. But yes, I mean, Lonnie Blizzard, the great Dr. Lonnie Blizzard, hired me. Yeah. And I tell him all the time, still today, it was the best thing he ever did, you know, when he came to the
Does
college.
he agree?
Absolutely.
Okay,
of course
good,
he does.
good.
And of course, to be able to retire with Dr. Rusty Hunt at the helm and still leading the college and doing a fabulous job, you know, I just had the best job ever, you know, to be able to be part of it.
Well, Jonathan and I were kind of just talking a little bit before we got started. No, this is cool. But you worked with his mom at the Free Press.
Can I break in here and say, I don't want to have to edit this, so keep it easy.
Oh, okay.
So the segue here is you go from the people you loved working with and for to my mom, who you probably didn't enjoy working with so much.
I loved
which
your
I understand
mom
that.
because she was I loved your mom at the Free Press because she was very much in building advertising and some of the design ads. Because when I would work at the college, it was a one-man shop in marketing. I didn't have a Jimmy Taylor. I didn't have a social media coordinator, Kaylin, that's there now. It was just me. So to be able to go to the Free Press, work with Angie Nottinson, and her to be able to give to Judy and create these things. Yes, so full circle. It's a small world all the time.
Yeah.
But just to finish that thought, you worked with her. No, you worked
I
with her at
love
the
her.
Free Press.
Yes.
And then she went to Lenoir Community College. You worked with her there.
Yeah. In HR, so that I had to really, you know, before it was like I was giving her direction, and now I have to behave myself because she was in HR.
I mean, at this point, she probably looks the other way on some stuff. I'm just kidding.
I've left it, you know, but yeah, it is a small world, how things come about. I was thinking about the other day, I was talking to, you know, we all know Sue Novicki.
Oh my gosh,
You know?
love Sue Novicki.
Yes, love Sue Novicki.
Greg
So
Sue
Sue was one of the first recruiters that worked under marketing with me.
Okay.
You know, and I think of her as a mentor, not someone we worked together. And so from Sue, you know, Keely Kuntz, who is doing well with Capital K, marketing her own. I had opportunity to work with her as well. And then Allie Bloom, who is Jeannie Kennedy's niece, you know, worked in the department with me as well. And she's at NC State working in marketing. And now Kaylin Kennedy is there and doing a great job in the marketing department, along with Megan Wade, who is the director of marketing. And doing a wonderful job, and Jimmy Taylor, who is just as solid as the day is long. You know, he is, and he also came from the Free Press. You know, working with
He
your
also
mom.
worked my mom twice.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm joking. Love you, Judy.
See, the great thing is now she's remarried, so nobody knows that Judy's my mom.
but she
that.
tells it all the time. I mean, she's proud of you.
Well, it depends on the day of the week, I think.
Well, help me with this. When did you leave the LCC?
So November.
You retired.
Right. I retired in 2024, November 2024. That's when I actually left in September, but I had enough time that it didn't really go in effect till November. And, you know, I'm one of those people that just need these benchmarks. I could have stayed at the college for the rest of my life, died at my desk. I mean, I truly loved working at Lenoir Community College, helping people, seeing their dreams come true, being a part of a larger community. So I told my daughter, and I have one grandchild, I have 2 now, I told my daughter if she and her husband ever had a second child and things lined up, I would retire. You know, you say those things,
Well,
but
it
you
seems
think,
like you kind of strong arm him into having
well,
another kid.
no. So I remember the moment, you know, we're on the phone and Caitlin goes, I'm pregnant. And then the next thing out of her mouth was, are you going to retire? I said, I absolutely am. And never looked back, and went to work in January after the Christmas holiday, and Dr. Hunt's congratulating us, because of course J.D. Gibbs, my son-in-law, worked there as well, and was congratulating us, and the next thing he says, you're going to retire, aren't you? I said, I am. He just shut the door, let's talk, you know, but I'm telling you, I needed that benchmark because just so many things. And Linda and I were, the lovely Linda and I were talking earlier, you are busier when you retire than you
Well,
ever were
especially
when
with
you worked.
grandchildren.
Well,
Yeah.
even without grandchildren, what I have found is that, when you're working, you're so busy juggling all the plates in the air. You know this. Everybody in this room knows this. You're juggling the plates in the air. You're making sure everything doesn't fall, you hope. And then you're also trying to have your life outside of it, whatever that may be. And then all of a sudden, that big chunk gets taken away, and you think, well, how am I going to fill my time? Well, then you realize you're filling your time with all those things you had been juggling. You're now enjoying, That last year of being at the college, I covered 32 graduations, and every one of them was sweet because they all had some meaning for a student. But that last one probably was the sweetest because I knew it was going to be the last one that I would be able to enjoy, and everything becomes a little bit more heightened, than the first time. But they're all important. They're all important. The college was great.
As someone who's been on the front line, obviously, when you're tell people what you did at the Free Press. There are people that know Richy Huneycutt that dealt with you all the time that probably don't realize you worked for the Kinston Daily Free Press. What did you do at the
Yes.
Free Press?
So I started as the farm editor.
Okay.
And of course,
Wait a minute, the farm
editor, and of course, I'll be honest with you guys. When you start, I came from Carteret County. I didn't know what agriculture was. I thought, collards looked just like tobacco to me. It was all the same. So I got to work with some of the late greats, Bill Lamb and Bill Elmore, and get to know the farming community. Went from farm editor to news editor. I did the police beat too, when you go at 6 o'clock in the morning and around the police. Quite different back then than it is today. And was news editor. And this is my greatest. I even had the newspaper with it. So I got to be managing editor for like 1 month.
Okay.
So I was made managing editor in January because Mike Kohler had moved up. And my husband at the time got transferred to Burlington at Glen Raven Mills. And so we were going to try and make that work because I wanted to be managing editor. And make that work and realize long distance relationships really didn't, that kind of distance. So the end of February, so I was there for 2 months. 2 months as managing editor. And loved, I was there for 4 years in Burlington with the Times News, 10 years in Kinston. And I love that job just as much. You know what it's like being a journalist. You have to have a natural curiosity.
You have to be allergic to money too.
Yeah, but that's absolutely true. When I first started, I didn't have a comma in my salary. And when I went to, I will never forget when I went to LCC, and they offered me the job, and I accepted it. And then the HR person, Bernie Sanders then, called me back and said, I didn't tell you what it paid. And I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay. And I'm trying to be cool. And she told me, and I went, oh, well, thank you. Yes, I'll accept that. Hung up and said, oh my gosh, I've got a comma in my salary. What is that like? But
That's very cool.
Yeah, so you kind of evolve in that. But yeah, I have been very blessed. I used to say lucky, but I think I'm very blessed to have worked in professions that have been so rewarding, with journalism. You look back, I'm sure some of your great stories and the things that you've covered over and the people that you've mentored, and you see that come to fruition. And I kind of feel the same way, some of the big stories. When I started at the college, we had one day that we did darkroom work. That's when we had a camera. And it was all black and white. And the great Charles Buchanan, the late Charles Buchanan, taught me how to develop film. I probably couldn't do it today, but,
Well, it's muscle memory. I think it would surprise you. You would probably be able to do. There would be 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Every bit of
coming
that.
back.
Look, I was always so nervous because, he took Wednesdays off. And so he would shoot film and leave it, and all of us would shoot film when you knew it was needed for the next day. And you're in the dark rolling this, praying, please, please don't let me mess this up. Because I didn't want to have to tell him the next day, well, there's reasons there's spots all over or the light came on. But so, a lot of the things that I gained being in this community with the Free Press carried me into the college. And,
Well, how big of a, if you guys want to ask a question, please jump in, okay?
Oh, yeah, we'll just sit here and talk.
Yeah, I know. We'll go for
You wouldn't think
as
we'd
long
see
as
each
John
other,
will let
but
us.
yes.
But how big of a transition was that for you to go from the Free Press, where you got to know the community,
Yeah.
to going into a job where you're dealing with the community really on a daily basis? What kind of transition was that?
Well, there was a transition because all I knew as a background was journalism, you know, writing the stories, covering, being the observer, going to what we used to say back in the day, going to the dark side of PR, you know, and to be able to now, instead of being an observer, being very much immersed into the stories. And one of the things, and that still carries true today, that I told everybody, because everybody would say, oh, we don't talk to the press, oh, we don't do this. I said, so let me just tell you, and I said this to you the first time I met you, we are as transparent as the day is long.
Yep.
You know, when we do it right, we want you to report it. And when we do it wrong, we know you're going to report it. I'm going to tell you about it. But give us a chance to be fair and to have some kind of response in that. And we carried that through, and even after I've left, they still carry that through. So that was something that was a little bit more of a transition for me from the opposite side. I've told this story before, but Jennifer Schrader just got off the bus literally from wherever she came from to work Free Press, covered the Board of Trustees our very first night, met her, told her nothing ever happens during closed sessions, feel free to leave, I will call you the next day. It was her first story, so of course she's going to stay. And we go in, and they go back in session, and Dr. Blizzard looks, and the board chair says, we've accepted Lonnie Blizzard's resignation. And I went, what? You know? I mean, and
Did you really have no idea?
no,
Okay.
I no
Okay.
clue. Best kept secret ever. And Jennifer looked at me like it's the first time she's met me,
Yeah.
right? What an impression I made. And I'm going, I really
I didn't know.
I said, but we'll talk to him afterwards. And we laugh about that still today. You know, we keep in touch with Facebook, and we still laugh about that. So sometimes the marketing director, back in those days, a public information officer, you know, you served in that role, doesn't always be the first person that knows, but they have to be able to roll with it, whatever that is. So that was a transition.
There, John and I were talking about this earlier. Is it true that LCC lost funding when people found out that John graduated?
No, absolutely not.
How about when they found out Massey did?
But they were just tickled that y'all came, you know.
Yeah.
And I would say at the same time, you know, we do have a foundation. I still say we, so I apologize.
Yeah, I believe
I
you're
am
entitled
retired,
to. Yeah.
but I have such a love for the college and certainly still contribute to it. You know, it's funny, when we've done shows in the past, I'd have to look up when registration dates were. I didn't have to this time. But I will say the ACE Center ribbon cutting is coming up in May, and I'm so excited to be able to attend that, because a lot of the work prior to the design, the logo, was kind of done during while I was there. So to be able to see that come to fruition is exciting. There's so many great things. Even though you think we may have lost money, we have a foundation. So anyone that wants to contribute, I contribute to the foundation for scholarships. It's a great opportunity for students to be able to go to school that wouldn't otherwise be able to go.
How does someone who, you know, working for the Free Press, and you're, you know, having to be on top of everything, then the way you were with Lenoir Community College, how do you go from that to retiring? And I mean, I know, and I want to talk
Yeah.
about your grandchildren here in a moment, but
Life after LCC.
what is that like? I mean, when your
Amazing.
finger's not on the pulse of everything that's going on in the community, how do you do that?
Well, I think probably one of the best things that the state system does is that they say for 6 months you can't go back. You can't even go on campus. You can't be engaged, you know, because that jeopardizes your retirement.
Yeah.
And I really do think that's good, because how do you let go of something you've been, it's your baby, and all of a sudden it's like you turn the reins over. For me, it was easy because, as I said, Megan, quite capable and certainly very talented, and came from ECU to come to LCC. She's from LaGrange. That made it a lot easier to be able to turn something over to someone that I knew had the chops, but not only that, had the passion.
Yeah.
You know, and that's key. But for me, I mean, it's like, gosh, I started decluttering my house. I'm still working on that. 2 grandchildren, you know, that was why I wanted to retire in the first place, to be part of their development and influence, hopefully good. I'm sure Caitlin sometimes thinks, yeah, she's undoing everything that we do as parents. But the grandma role is, I look at it, it's just a different season, you know. Very young, started working, like I said, Free Press, right out of college, went from that to Burlington, came back to a community I loved, went into for 32 years at one place. Can you imagine that? I'm still pretty amazed at that.
Wow.
But in that 32 years, it changed so much. I mean, we started out with VDTs, video display terminals. I mean, we didn't have a computer. And I've seen all these different transitions go through to leaving with AI at the height. We didn't have social media in the beginning to be able to roll with those kinds of different changes. So that transition for me was very easy because I looked at it as this is just a different season and a great season.
But you seem like someone who's able to roll with the punches. Obviously, to have the jobs that you've had, but what do you attribute that to? Is that something that you got? I'm not going to put words in your mouth. What do you attribute your ability to be a chameleon the way you are?
Well, probably because I'm the third of three girls.
Okay.
Being the baby, so my two older sisters certainly paved the way for a lot of things, and I won't say that I was spoiled, but I certainly, I was named after my dad. Many people don't know that, but my real name is Richard, so named it. That's a lot of conversations throughout the years,
I remember when I found that out.
Yeah,
that I was blown
most
away
people
by
are
that.
just so crazy about, and still today, and to me, I'm so proud of that. But I think that taught me to, when people usually are more embarrassed when they say Mr. than I am, just taught me just to roll with the punches. Life is way too short. And I think we go through different things in our lifetime that make us realize that it is too short. Your health scare, my goodness, you look at things a lot differently, right? I lost my late husband in 2007. It made me see things that I thought were important really weren't. Being upset with somebody, it's always the end result. And when I was working at the college, I would say to people, so what do you want to get out of this? What's the end result? And if you can accomplish that without scratching their eyes out, that's a good thing, And every now and then you have to scratch eyes. But I think that was the biggest influence for me. And also, I train still with Stroud School of Martial Arts, own and operate that. That keeps me busy.
Did you know that, Bryan?
Yeah.
I noticed you.
Yeah.
You get out of frame there, but
And that's another
Get back in
thing.
frame.
You got to get back in front. So that's another thing. That's always been a hobby, and still is. I started that in 1979. I like to think I was 6, but I wasn't. And but now I get to put more time in that. I work a lot of times with different groups that want to come down and just have a self-defense class for women, or churches will want to bring their security team in, and we have that. And it's,
I'll deal with you later.
and it's fun. And I, started that. Took my first martial arts class at LCC as a student before I ever thought I'd be working there.
Wow.
And we were on the quarter system back then. Hated every minute of the class. On Wednesdays, I'd go outside, throw up, and come back and work with Lemuel Stroud, and thinking, I'll never do this. And, here I am at the ripe old age of 68, still teaching and training with some great people. And
You were the best looking 68-year-old I've ever seen.
You were
okay?
kind.
And Bryan, you're the worst looking 68-year-old I've ever seen.
My daughter's a hairdresser, so so that always helps.
Well, very good. Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. I cannot begin to tell you, in this season that I'm in my life, I mean, that you have been my friend through everything, through so many things. And I'm not going to break it all down, but I appreciate you coming. Final thoughts?
I'm a beauty school dropout, so I know none of this
Just a
college,
There
few,
might
this
be.
college stuff.
just a few credits left.
Yeah.
There you
You
go.
have cosmetology there.
Oh!
Yeah, you can go to
I can
cosmetology.
re-up.
Hurry up, Jonathan.
Do they have a looks maxing program?
I am so sorry that you had to put up with Judy for so many years, and now you're having to put up with me, sitting between me and Bryan.
Oh, listen,
which,
this is a
by the way,
delight.
cannot smell nice.
No.
Between the two of us, so
I was
we apologize.
so excited when Bryan texted me and said, "Will you be on the show?" And I'm like, "You really want me to come?" And when he said 5:30 p.m., I was even more excited. That's great.
Very good. Richy Huneycutt, love you. Loved you since I met you. You've been so invaluable to Linda and I. Think the world of you. Thank you so much
too,
for coming
sweetheart.
on. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this, and will we see him next week?
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.